So this is a super fair question. And honestly, looking back, now I can't. But then I was very, very, very convinced that my way was correct. I was raised extremely conservative, went to conservative Christian private school for most of my life, went to church my entire life, and my entire community was very conservative. I also, once I was accepted into a social circle that I'm not going to talk about because that's a whole thing, they were extremely conservative. So I was basically in a conservative echo chamber, which was where I was born, essentially. All of the viewpoints that I knew, all of the viewpoints I'd even been exposed to, all said the same thing. And it was the same thing you're hearing right now, this very like Christian nationalism, like, oh man, if Jesus was on this earth, he'd be wearing a red hat and toting a gun. Like, okay, you know what I mean. Christian nationalism is an absolute cancer, and it has convinced people that being a Republican and being a Christian are the same. And that was what I fell victim to. That makes it sound like I wasn't responsible for it. I absolutely take ownership of the fact that I was just completely and utterly ignorant. So not only was it really all I'd ever known, this conservative Christian viewpoint, when I say conservative Christian, I mean traditional views, like social views and political views. So like very, very, very conservative. So not only was it all I ever knew, there was this immense social pressure because everyone in any circle I was in believed the exact same. It was only when I ventured outside of that viewpoint and started actually hearing from people who disagreed with me that I started to realize, oh, everyone who agrees with me isn't necessarily super smart, and everyone who disagrees with me isn't automatically a total idiot. So I voted for Trump for the same reasons a lot of conservative Christians have continued to vote for him because I believed this lie that, you know what, he's not perfect, but he's going to bring back Christian values. He's going to return us to being a God-fearing nation. And I'm sorry, that's bull. Scripture is so clear that we will know them by their fruit, and everything Donald Trump has done has shown us who he truly is. And he is someone who just does not align with Scripture. But we have this huge brick wall that we've built up. Honestly, we've turned this man into a golden calf, and we have put so much store in him that now honestly, I think a big part of it is we would have to walk it back and say that we were wrong in order to turn from this. Because conservative Christians, when I say we, I'm talking about conservative Christians, even though I am a Christian, I am not a conservative at this point in my life. But conservative Christians are so far down this path of not just supporting, but exalting this man that turning around and going, oh, you know what? Actually, we were wrong is such a monumental thing. This is going to sound really strange, but it's almost like why premarital counseling is ineffective. By the time you're engaged and you go to premarital counseling, you've already got the ring, you've probably got a date, you've put down some deposits. The pressure that's propelling you towards marriage is so intense that even if you find out through premarital counseling that you're probably not right for each other, there's already so much momentum going that 99% of couples aren't going to go, you know what, actually, I'm glad we did this. We should turn around and not get married. Most of them will continue to get married. I did the first time. So I honestly think it's a mixture of lies and social pressure and momentum. And honestly, hatred for the left. Everyone loves to band around a common enemy, right? That's how a lot of people find there's the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's unfortunately in this fallen world how a lot of people find community with others is by hating the same people. And the conservative community is very much rallied around own the libs. I thought it was hilarious when Trump won the first time and there was that video of the person with like blue hair like kneeling down and screaming at the sky. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, yes, we've owned the libs. And so much of conservative culture is built around that. So much of conservative culture is built on not furthering their own purpose, but thwarting the purpose of other people. And honestly, that's an intoxicating environment. It is very, very difficult. Humans are pack creatures, we're herd creatures, right? And you've heard of a mob mentality. Mob mentality absolutely still plays a part in that. So I think to answer your question, I'm sorry this was so long, it definitely is not that I was able to justify it from an actual biblical standpoint. It's that I had caved to the pressure of everyone around me and to my own ignorance. And I 1,000% own that. I'm going to share an example that's really embarrassing and really, really sad, but should give you a picture of my ignorance. when I was 16 years old, I found out that Malcolm X wasn't a superhero. I fully thought Malcolm X was a superhero, like the X-Men. I was like, Malcolm X, he's one of the X-Men. He's like the leader of the X-Men. I genuinely did not know that Malcolm X was not a superhero until I was 16. No, I think I was 17. Yeah, it was in a college class that I found out Malcolm X wasn't a superhero. And the reason I share that is to show how freaking ignorant, how little education I had on anything outside of like the white American conservative Christian history. I had absolutely nothing. And I'm still catching up. That and my little echo chamber that I was in. I spent a couple months in Guatemala in 2018, and that was when I really started to realize, oh, going somewhere and not speaking the language doesn't make you a terrible person. Seeing how Latino people treated me when I was the one who didn't speak their language and yet was in their country was a big turning point for me. Like, absolutely huge. How patient and kind people were with me when I was like fumbling around with my 5 words in Spanish when I got there. That started to show me. You couldn't have told me I was wrong. I was shown I was wrong. And so, honestly, and I will try to land the plane here, I promise this is way longer than I wanted it to be. That is why I'm trying to make this content. I'm trying to show other conservative Christians the error in their judgment, the error in their beliefs, and go, guys, if we're going to claim Jesus, we've got to get it together because this is not it. So, hope that answered your question. Sorry, this was so long.